When you hear explosions, what comes to your mind? Many will quickly point out the atomic explosions of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That would be pretty impressive if you thought about that as well. But the explosion that the NASA chief warns of is something greater than any atomic explosion or even more atomic bomb explosions combined. This is the explosion of the Betelgeuse stars. When will this star explode, and what disastrous effects might it have on Earth? Our solar system is made up of stars, among other planetary bodies. These stars are in the billions and live for a very long time. Including our Sun, the stars produce very intense heat from nuclear explosions that occur inside these stars. These nuclear explosions are even more powerful than that of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and get worse when the star is about to die. Betelgeuse is a star that is about to die, or should we say, explode, more powerful than man has ever seen. This star is not just like any other star in our solar system. It is one of the most powerful stars man has known. Betelgeuse is a very large red star, so it can be seen without assistance. The star is also known as Alpha Orionis, which implies it is one of the brightest stars in the Orion constellation. Do you know that the Betelgeuse star is not the brightest star in that constellation? It was figured out that the Beta Orionis, Rigel, is far brighter than Betelgeuse. Still, because of certain variations, Betelgeuse was called the Alpha Orionis. It is quite an interesting star the Betelgeuse must be, but sadly, like all stars, it will die when it gets old. Yes, stars do get old and die, sometimes with a very large explosion. But does that mean the Betelgeuse star is very old or that hot? The answer to that question is no. In fact, the Betelgeuse star is not that old. It is not the brightest in Orion, yet it appears so. This is also a fact that it is the 10th brightest star at night, one of the single stars that do not belong to any system. Hence, it is referred to as the runaway star. You know that our Sun is about 5 billion years old, about Betelgeuse's age, right? Yet it is not about to explode, or is it? We don't know yet. However, Betelgeuse, roughly 10 million years old, is nearing its explosion. Why? Scientists believe that Betelgeuse does not behave like most stars in our universe. For one, it consumes fuel faster than other stars and needs lots of this fuel to survive. Betelgeuse is also larger than our Sun, about, if not more than 1,000 times, and it's expected to be hotter. Or so you would think, but the contrary happens. Although very large and burns more fuel, it is relatively cold compared to our Sun. Let's explain and put into perspective how large the Betelgeuse star is. Imagine the first 4 planets together: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Hold that size in your mind. Then place Betelgeuse where the Sun is. Great. If you can imagine that, imagine the Betelgeuse star engulfing the 4 planets, even almost, if not, going past Jupiter. That is how big and large the star is. Because of its size, it has so many solar luminosities, about 126,000. And these 126,000 solar luminosities make the star appear very bright during the night, even if it is more than 500 light-years away from us. Another interesting thing about the Betelgeuse star is that it is not as hot as the Sun. It is, in fact, colder, with a temperature of just about 3,600 degrees Kelvin. And as fascinating as the star is, it has lived up to 10 million years. It is expected to die soon in a process known as a supernova. This death will result in an explosion that the NASA chief warns us about. Interestingly, not all stars explode when they die. Some simply fade out. The supernova explosion is responsible for producing most of the universe's minerals, heavy elements, and a large variety of vital elements for more diversity in space and the formation of new stars. As we said, not all stars make it to the supernovae. Many stars become cold at the prime of their existence and turn into white dwarfs, and then black dwarfs. Like the Betelgeuse star, stars larger than our Sun can make it. It has exhibited all of the characteristics that are required for a supernova. It is red, a supergiant, and its cores have been shrinking. You will find out more about this later in the video. Supernovas are better seen as events that occur when a star dies or before. It's characterized by very bright light and explosions that will give off more energy than our Sun does. In ancient times, when there were no modern observation tools, Asian scientists witnessed supernovas. Some of these were so bright they could be seen in the daytime. Supernovas do not occur frequently, or we do not see them frequently. But some scientists from the European Space Agency believe there is a possibility for one to happen every 50 years that we can see. And in a galaxy as big as our Milky Way, there are supernovas we can't see occurring every 10 seconds because they are apparently too far from us. Interestingly, not all stars go supernova when they die. When they become too large, some stars might likely not explode, rather collapse and form scary black holes. In the case of the Betelgeuse star, scientists discover the star has lost its shine. A star among the 10 brightest stars in our sky is suddenly not even found among the 20th bright stars. These tremendous changes the star has undergone took 25 years after it was observed by scientists to be dimming as the year went by. But the reason for this star losing its brightness is because it's going old. Scientifically, the star has experienced a plume, or what you would call a starquake, which blew out a very large chunk of the star's surface, including its huge cloud of particles that are heavily charged with electricity. Remember how shrinking in the core is necessary for a supernova? Scientifically, this electricity cloud can have its fair share of effects on the planet. However, there's nothing to worry about. It's not supposed to threaten health or life here on Earth. Still, there is no denying that it can cause lots of damage to the technology out there that helps us understand how things up there operate. Need you be reminded that technology costs billions of dollars? This effect can also lead to geomagnetic storms that will wreak havoc on our grid if it ever hits Earth, not to mention the possible explosion of hot gas that will follow. Does this give you a clue of what might happen if the Betelgeuse star eventually explodes? If not, what do you think would happen if the star were to go supernova, and what risk would it pose to Earth directly or indirectly? Don't hesitate to share and drop your thoughts and insights and opinions in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.